I think it's extremely important that it be possible to share gaming experiences on your own terms, or really any experiences in life that are personal experiences first and then shared with others because it's an experience worth sharing. Maybe you go on a vacation, you take pictures, you do things to share with others the good time you've had, and yet the first and foremost priority must be for you to have a good experience. If you've gone sightseeing, you might have seen a tourist somewhere taking selfies and vlogging everything that they're doing and burying their face in their phone, constantly uploading more pictures of everything they're doing, giving people who aren't there a play-by-play of their vacation. And while that's fine, if that's really what they enjoy doing, the risk is that they wind up having a poor experience because they're not mindful or present in that experience. They're too busy trying to share it to actually have a quality experience for themselves. They're not enriching themselves because it's all about someone else that's outside of their experience. Whether it's taking pictures so that they can remember it later, or sharing things so that other people can be exposed to it, it can break immersion. And it's the same thing when you're gaming. If you are doing something that takes the experience away from what it should be and turns it into something that's a negative, then you want to cut that out. And for me, I really don't like the idea of unpauseable games. Games where you can't walk away. That's what I mean. Games where you're sitting down and then you decide you want to get up and go to the bathroom, or a friend calls you and you want to stop playing so that you can talk on the phone for a little while. Or you get bored playing and you think I want to go outside. I want to go for a walk. I want to go to the store. I want to go somewhere else and do something. Somebody says, hey, do you want to go out somewhere? And you're in the middle of a game. It's nice to be able to hit save and say, sure, no problem. I'm going to get up. Let's go. But what if it's a multiplayer game? You're in the middle of a match. You're doing something with your guild. You said you'd be online at a certain time, and now you're online and you're in the middle of an activity with other people. You don't want to let them down. So what does that mean? It means now you can't just play the game on your terms and truly have a good experience with it. You've got to do what other people want you to do. You've got to live up to their expectations. You've got to make sure that you keep your connection. You've got to keep on doing what is expected of you. And at that point, the game becomes a job. You're not doing it for your own personal enrichment. You're not having a wonderful experience, which you then, as a secondary effect, share with others so that they can enjoy a taste of that experience. You are making the sharing the primary experience, which erodes the entire point of having the experience at all. And for that reason, I find guilds tend to be a problem because it can seem fun to join them, and I have, but it can also be a very short path from being a fun idea to join, and then realizing that you log into your favorite game, or you sit down at your computer and you have a bunch of messages in your inbox from people who are going to ask you why you're not playing, or why you're not playing with them, or why you're not doing specific content that they want you to do. That's not fun. Nor is it fun to feel like you have to build your life around something which ultimately is a form of entertainment and pleasure. And when your entertainment and pleasure isn't fun and it's not entertaining, you really shouldn't be doing it. And you certainly don't want to adopt things that actually create a roadblock, so you can't do the content you want to do because you're too busy doing the content other people expect you to do. I think this is a real problem. And right along with it, there's the problem of live service games. And I do like live service games because it's cool to be part of an ongoing franchise. But it's not cool if you feel like you have to log in, you have to do dailies, you have to do some sort of a grind. Then you can get into a situation where you feel like you're going to power through your daily things, the obligations, if you will, so that you then can perhaps, if you're lucky, eventually find the time to do the things you actually enjoy, the things you really want to do. That's not how it's supposed to be. And that's unfortunately how it winds up being quite often. And it's something that I've come to really dislike. You've got to figure out how to establish clear boundaries so that you're not inconveniencing yourself. Now, another thing that I've thought about on this is if you want to make content for YouTube or Twitch or something, and you're trying to figure out, do you want to stream, or do you want to do post-production content where you make the content and then you upload it after? And I've definitely reached the conclusion that streaming is immersion breaking, because it goes back to, why have an experience? It's about role playing, essentially. An experience where your goal is to immerse yourself in something imaginary and then reduce it to trying to entertain other people. If you're trying to stream a game and everyone else is watching you, or even if you don't really have an audience, but you're still playing through the lens of expecting that you have to be ready to entertain guests in a stream, you're not going to be having that fun personal experience. And I think there are a lot of people who have wound up having that unfortunate experience of finding that making content for their favorite games winds up resulting in them not enjoying the content or the game anymore, because then it becomes a job, it becomes an obligation, and it's not fun anymore. You just ought to be able to turn on a game and play it when you feel like it. Make content when you're inspired. Just be you. Do what you want to do, and don't be beholden to a guild or a online community or anything like that, any more than you would want to have a bunch of friends who expect that you're going to go hang out with them all the time, and then you can't actually have time to yourself when you have projects you need to do or want to do. It can be toxic, and it can be something we feel we really want, and that's perhaps one of the greater risks amongst things that can be toxic. It's that sense that we want something and then we're not having a good experience with it, but we've already established in our mind that we want to be on board with it. So we don't want to walk away because it betrays this idea in our mind of what we think that experience would be like. But the actuality of what experience you're having can be totally different than the promise of what kind of an experience you thought you'd have. A guild could be a really fun idea and a really negative experience in reality. And I think the earmark, what you really have to pay attention to is, do you start to feel like you almost dread logging into a game, or you dread a certain activity because you just know it's going to be some boring thing that you don't want to do, but you've cooked it up into this thing where you believe you have to, and you don't want to face the reality you're not having fun, so you just pretend that you're having fun, even though the truth is it really is a miserable experience. Even if you want to make content, you're not going to make good content if you hate what you're doing. That's just the truth. You're not going to do well at something that you're not passionate about. So learn to have fun first. And if it's not fun, just don't do it. It's that simple. You don't have to make a big expose of why. You can just say, you know what, I don't feel like doing that right now, and then just don't do it. And instead do things that you enjoy. And there might be times when you just don't feel like doing any content at all. It's okay to take a break from a game. It's okay to take a break from every game. You can take a break from gaming as a total whole if you feel like it. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I don't feel like playing any games this week. I'm gonna, go do something else entirely. And that's fine if you structure your routine to make sure that you're not committed to things that prevent you from doing that. Don't be in guilds that have obligations you have to live up to. Don't have this toxic idea that you have to do certain dailies, and if you don't do them, then you're falling inextricably behind. If there is a game that makes you feel like you're hopelessly behind if you don't do specific content, then maybe just take that game out of your portfolio, because there's plenty of games where it's totally easy, totally fun to just play when you want, and then come back when you feel like it. And, take Elder Scrolls Online. I like this game because it has a lot of questing. It has a lot of different things you can do as a single player if you want to play solo. But if you want to do a quest, that's great. And there's a lot of quests in the game. Voice acted quests, really nice. And yet, I don't really have this sense that I have to do them. They're there. They add a level of depth to the world, but I don't need to do them to have a complete gaming experience. I can just log in when I feel like it, mine a little bit of ore, sell it on a market, and call it a day. If that's all I want to do, that's totally fine. The game does not punish me for playing it the way I feel like playing it. And while there's a great depth of content available, it doesn't feel like I'm punished for not doing that content. And that's something that I've had a problem with in a lot of MMOs. There's this enormous grind, and you have to do the grind if you want to get to end game. And then it just feels like an obligation. That's one reason I didn't like Final Fantasy XIV, because I started playing it and then I realized there's tons and tons of quests. And eventually, I just got tired of it. I'm not enjoying the quests. And there's nothing to do outside of the quests, other than queuing up for a dungeon I've already seen. So it just got tired and stale. And I put a whole bunch of hours into that game, and I still didn't even unlock the expansion areas, because there's so much quest to go through before you can unlock these areas. In Elder Scrolls Online, I don't have to worry about that. I can go anywhere. If there's a new expansion that comes up and there's a new map that is released, I can go there right away. I don't have to play through the quest line to unlock that map or anything like that. I can just go there and explore. And that's really nice. It's really nice to feel like the game world is open and it's available, and you don't have to do a specific type of content to have a good experience. Just find something that you think is fun and do it, and do it for however long or however short you want. You know, there's people who have families, there's people who have busy jobs, there's all different sorts of people, and gaming should be open to all of those people. I don't subscribe to this idea that you can play games when you have supposedly all this time as a teenager or something, and then when you grow up, you don't have time for that because you have other obligations. That's not fair, because even the most important busy people I know spend a lot of time doing things like watching movies and looking at stuff on Facebook and watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. So it's not like people don't have time. It's just people who are busy with other things in life don't have time to be in bondage to online obligations. They can't just take a block of time and say, I'm going to be gaming with these people and I'm going to be offline. I can't step away. I can't do something if I need to go get something important done. I can't answer the phone. I've got to just be in this online gaming environment with these other people online. That's the part that adult people can't really successfly do. Like, not some can, but I mean, I probably can. I can do that if I want, but I don't want to do that. That's the thing. I don't want to be bound to an obligation to do things with people online. I don't want to be feeling like I can't just step away when I feel like it or when I need to. And that's at the heart of, I think, what makes a good gaming experience for me versus a poor one. And I do like to make content. I like to be able to kind of share my experience in some way with other people. But what I found is it's a lot more fun to share experiences retroactively. You have the experience. Maybe you save a little bit of gameplay video and you upload it later. Maybe you do some kind of commentary or playthrough or something, and you do it offline and then you upload it. And that's okay. That can be fun, but you're doing it on your terms. And if you need to take a break, it's fine. You're not going to be punished. I think it's really important to just remember how we play games to find a sense of liberty and a sense of wonder, and to be able to explore things that maybe we wouldn't be able to explore in a physical space. So if the experiences we're having are not fundamentally liberating, then we kind of are defeating the point of why we are doing it at all. Make time for things you want to do, but don't bind yourself to things that take away your time, or rather take away your ability to give consent about how you spend your time. You should always be doing something of your own choice, not doing something that you just have gotten lured into and then bound to by a sense of obligation. Till next time, thank you for watching.